Pro TCG, and everything you need to know about the game. So if you're new to the game or if you're interested in playing the game, then this is the video just for you. Now let's get started with the basics. There are different types of cards you can play with. First, we have character cards, which comes with every Bakugan figure. You have the character's name, faction, the paired Baku cores, B power, damage rating, ability, and the set it comes with. Now there is a different type of character card, which are fusion cards. They start off just like a normal character card, but later on in the game, you can fuse that card by flipping that card over, and it acts as the new character card. Next, we have ability cards. On the ability card, they have the name, energy cost, faction, a card type, and an ability. There are different types of ability cards. Each 40 card deck can include any of these ability cards. First, we have Evo cards, which are played from the hand and are played on top of their matching character card and remain in play for the rest of the game. Then we have Bahu Gear, which are played from the hand underneath any character card. You may play a Bahu Gear on a character that does not match the faction on the Bahu Gear. Next, we have action cards. Action cards are played from the hand with an effect and then go to the discard pile. Next, we have hero cards. Hero cards are played from the hand and remain on play for the rest of the game. Finally, we have flip cards. Flip cards may only be played when flipped from the deck after losing a brawl. They are unable to be played from the hand. Now let's talk about the different type of Bakugan that are out there. First, we have core Bakugan, which are small, simple versions of Bakugan. Then we have Ultra Bakugan, which are more complex versions of a Bakugan. You can use any combination of core and Ultra Bakugan on your team. Baku cores are hexagonal shaped tiles that empower your Bakugan. There are 5 different types of Baku cores. First one being the Green Fist Baku core. This one primarily modifies the damage rating. The second one is the Fire Fist Baku core. This primarily modifies the damage rating at a higher value. Third, we have the Shield Baku core. This one primarily modifies the B power. The fourth one is a Magic Shield Baku core. This one primarily modifies the B power at a higher value. And the last one is the Helix Baku core. This one has many traps, combat keywords, and modifies the B power and damage rating. On the back of the Baku cores, they have an effect. Depending on what type of Baku core you're using, they may have a different effect. We've talked about all the different types of cards, Bakugan, and Baku cores. So let's get into how to set up a game. Today, I'm using my 2-player Bakugan mat. If you don't have a mat, that is perfectly fine. And if you want to get a mat, you can check out Matrix Mats. They make really cool looking designs for Bakugan playmats, and a link will be down in the description below. First thing is, each player will need a team made up of 3 Bakugan and their character cards. They can be from any faction you want. They can all be the same faction or all different factions, up to the player. Next, you will need 6 Baku cores. These 6 Baku cores you play with must match the Baku core symbols with those on your team's character cards. And finally, a 40 card deck consisting of all types of ability cards, with a maximum of 3 copies of a card. After you get all of that, you can start setting up the Hide Matrix. The Hide Matrix is made up of all the Baku cores you and your opponent have placed on the field. Now both players will alternate placing their Baku cores at the center of the field face down. To see who places first, flip a coin, or flip a Baku core. Winner decides. Note, when placing a Baku core on the field, it needs to touch one entire side of another Baku core. Once you've done that, it's time to brawl. To start the game off, each player will need to shuffle their 40 card decks and draw the top 5 cards of the deck to begin the game. Now it is the draw phase. Both players will draw a card from the top of their deck at the beginning of each turn. Players may select any card from their hand to place face down as an energy card. You don't have to energize a card every turn. Now, flips are great energy cards since they can't be played from the hand, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Players may use energy to play actions, Evo, heroes, and Bahu Gear cards from their hand before the next phase. There are 2 positions for energy cards, charged and uncharged. Charged energy cards are when the card is vertical and haven't been spent yet. Uncharged energy cards are turned horizontal when it is spent to play a card. After the energy phase comes the roll phase. This is where each player chooses an unopened Bakugan they will roll with this turn. The players must roll their Bakugan towards the hide matrix at the same time. Best way to do this is where both players are saying 3, 2, 1, Bakugan Brawl, and roll your Bakugan on Brawl. Now players must roll their Bakugan starting off at 2 card links or 6 core links away from the nearest Bahu core. After both players roll their Bakugan, you will enter the Brawl phase. If none of the Bakugan open, roll again. If only one Bakugan opens, that player turns over their character card and is declared the victor. If both players' Bakugan open, they each will turn over their character cards. You will then combine the B power score from the character card with the B power score of the Bahu core that was picked up. Players may play cards to modify B power and other abilities until both players decide they don't want to play any other cards or abilities. The highest B power wins the brawl. In case of a tie, both players put the top card of their decks into their discard pile. The highest energy cost card wins. If needed, repeat this process. Once a winner is decided, you will go into the victor phase. The winner of the brawl sets their open Bakugan on the character card and it is named the victor. The other player returns their Bakugan to ball form and places it on their character card and returns any Bahu cores it picked up back to the hide matrix. Each player may play cards to modify the damage rating until both players decide they don't want to play any other cards. After the victor phase comes the damage phase. The victor combines the damage rating from the character card, any cards played, and any Bahu cores it picked up. The victor deals damage to the opponent for each damage rating it has. The opponent flips one card into their discard pile from the top of their deck for each damage they are dealt. If a flip card is exposed while flipping, the damaged player may pay the energy cost of that flip card to play it. If a flip card is played, it must be used right away before any other cards are flipped. If a player wins a brawl and all 3 of their Bakugan are open, they deliver a devastating team attack. The victor's Bakugan combines the damage rating of each Bakugan on the team and any Bahu cores they picked up. After a team attack, all 3 Bakugan return to ball form and all their Bahu cores go to the hide matrix. Once the damage has been dealt, it will go to the end phase. Players may play action, Evo, Hero, and Bahu Gear cards before the turn ends. Once both players are done playing cards, they recharge their uncharged energy cards and begin the next turn. A player that makes his or her opponent flip a card from their deck when they have no more cards left wins the game. A player with no cards left in their deck cannot lose during the draw phase. They can only lose as a result of damage. There are symbols that have special effects and they are Double Strike. Bakugan with Double Strike deal twice their damage rating when attacking. Shadow Strike. Bakugan with Shadow Strike can't have their B power or damage rating reduced. Frost Strike. Flip cards cost 1 additional energy for each point of Frost Strike the attacking Bakugan has. Victor. The Bakugan who wins the brawl is the victor. Draw. Draw cards from your deck equal to the number listed after the draw icon. Armor rating. When you flip a card during the damage phase and it has a armor rating, you take that number off the remaining damage before you flip over more cards. So that is how you play Bakugan Pro TC.
Rather than explain it, let's run through a full turn using a Geogon. You and your opponent are engaged in a battle. You've rolled and stood, your opponent's B power is higher than yours, but lucky, you drew a Geogon card at the start of your turn. Geogon cards play exactly like reroll cards, but rather than re-rolling your Bakugan, you temporarily replace your Bakugan with a Geogon for this turn. After paying the energy cost, your Bakugan is retracted, and you play your Geogon by dropping it onto the hide matrix from 1 card length above the field, or higher if you choose death. You can drop it onto any core and keep any cores the Geogon grabs. If you're utterly incompetent, you might miss with your Geogon and it won't open and you'll lose the turn, but come on! It's not hard unless you have a restrictive disability, in which case I'm just in general sorry for Bakugan as a whole. After landing, you continue the turn with the Geogon as your monster instead of the Bakugan you had rolled. Any B power boosts you play give the B power to your Geogon, and everything else continues as normal. Once the turn is over and all damage has been dealt, your Geogon is retracted and its card is placed in the discard pile until you play another card to summon it again. Yes, in the current rules, you have to use the toy that corresponds to your Geogon card in order to play said cards. Just Just like normal Bakugan, and unlike Baku Gear, the character cards and toys are intrinsically connected. So how do you deck build with Geogon? The Hexagon Plus. Add a core or gate card to the active Bakugan. The Hexagon minus. Remove a core from the opposing active Bakugan. The Hexagon arrow symbol. Steal a core from the opposing active Bakugan. On a character card, these are compulsory static effects that activate immediately if your Bakugan is holding one of the correct cores when it opens. If both Bakugan have one of these symbols, they resolve in order of priority rather than reverse batch order. They only activate when the Bakugan first pops open. Adding the Baku core to the Bakugan later in the battle does not trigger the effect. Most of these weird specific rulings apply to the symbols when they're on a Bakugan's character card. It is much simpler to grasp when it's coming from Nanogon, because it just goes on.